Let's do that. It's a bench. And then you have it right there. You have a Neonazi Swastika right there carved in it. This is the first time I see it. So, all right. So we have something new to report about. This also is the issue that was involved in MK Ultra. This issue is repeated from another location. Wherever they were playing with MK Ultra, that's exactly what they were using, even challenging if you're going to sit next to it, etc., etc. Of course I'm going to sit next to it. Of course, why the fuck would I not? That's bizarre, bizarre, bizarre stuff. I don't know how these people envision anything. There you have some graffiti right there, smoke. I have video recorded that one. These people are falling apart in my eyes, big time. This is what we have going on now. When I said this stuff was involved in MK Ultra, Method Yerman, my neighbor, personally was involved in this thing here. It was just on another location, who with other police officers, investigators, and other people challenge, bullied, harass. If you would sit next to it, and if you would sit next to it, would you sit next to it? Well, no. He's gonna sit inside of the jail, so no, I would not sit next to it. It's a beautiful day, very, very beautiful day. Just on the other side of this forest, which I'm about to enter, is a bench like this, just like this, and they have stolen me a telephone. That's where they have stolen me a telephone, based on MK Ultra scenario from literally 2005. And I don't even know if they released the smartphones in 2005 yet. The carving of this Neonazi Swastika goes beautifully, very, very well along, just as you see it right here, with this audio recording right here. It's right now 47 minutes long, and that's how we do that stuff. It's called 58. So this is a proof that I was not the one who would be playing with what police anticipated they would even use to intimidate me with. So there you go. That's how simple that is. There is a police officer in this country, extremely well police officer, who had a 400,000 blog visits. Right here from Slovenia, 400,000, and that's this one here that you see, that's myself. A police is not a police. Police in Slovenia are criminals, lowlifes. I am a very, very public personality, very public personality. For every police officer that is out there, I'm more of a police officer than whatever police officer is out there. Absolutely. Nika Kovačeva is a self-professed feminist, together with a Slavujski Žižek, Milan Kučan, Vladimir Putin, Miran Sudin, Borut Pahor, etc., etc. This was the in MK Ultra involved feminism. This is what the feminism was, ladies and gentlemen. Vladimir Putin was a tremendous feminist. This is a tremendous protector of the female rights, of the female woman, female, and that's what the fuck we had going on. This is what went on. Nika Kovačeva connected herself to Barack Obama, American president, made her as big, as white, as important, visible, so that Putin could profit as much as possible from within. This was the feminism, as far as the feminism. I personally support feminism. I was wise, I was smart enough to not start to hate, as Milan Kučan wanted me to hate women, feminism, because as educated as I am and not driven completely insane, I know something about feminism issues from the school. I know for one thing that it was not Milan Kučan who invented feminism, nor it was Vladimir Putin who invented feminism. So because I know something little about the history in respect to feminism, feminist history, historically how the women were fighting for their rights, and because I am coming from the family that is tolerant, always was very tolerant toward the rights of the females, of the women rights, I did manage to somehow skip the police part pertaining to feminism. Otherwise, I would have turned into a fucking monster that probably it wouldn't be about the feminism. I probably would end up hating even women and everything else. This Nika Kovačeva is a fucking beast. I am talking about animal, absolute animal. And when I say Nika Kovačeva, this is the song that she hates, because it was my resistance song. So I was thrown into the psychiatric hospital when she in fact knew she should have been there already long time ago. She's afraid of the psychiatrists, afraid of the psychiatric hospital, fears psychiatric hospital because she knows she's mentally ill. She fears psychiatric hospital like devil fears cross. Yet she had a courage, she had a power, and she had a strength to go after the most persecuted guy in the world. The guy who had nothing to live for since he was born. That's a Slovenska Nika Kovačeva. Nika Kovač. Her name is Nika Kovač. She fucking hated that song. When I started to sing that song during MK Ultra, because of why I was doing that kind of stuff, because I was normal. I was dumped into even what became, not only she was involved in Mount Everest of torture, but the day came when I was thrown into the psychiatric hospital after 38 years of torture. She did not know what the fuck to do with her life. She figured out she's not even capable to be wife. due to mental illness. So it's important for me to state that decisions she's making, statements, her public conduct is not coming from her, but is solely used as a toy of Zoran Jankovic and Milan Kučan. The Putin is feminists, if you like. Now it's important because she established the so-called Institute March 8th. That's a Women's Day, March 8th. Feminism. Feminism, March 8th, all in the name of the partisans and so on. Novo Mesto police station. Igor Jurčić, number 1. Jana Zogolin, I should say, number 1. Igor Jurčić, number 2. And everything in between. Figure out for every police officer to be a police officer at Novo Mesto police station. And it's probably throughout Slovenia like this. You have to enroll yourself in a partisan movement, in a communist party, which they still run under the ground here in Slovenia. It's not a communist party, but it's the same diarrhea they enforced during Yugoslavia. I'm talking about that Neonazi Swastika that you have seen. They push the buttons, they push the buttons, and the buttons will hit back now. They literally had me on their ritualism, as Igor Jurčić will confess himself together with the neighbor Metod Jerman, where they had new members of this cabal giving their oath to a red star you wouldn't call this a socialism, communism, whatever you want, to see themselves into the bitter end. This is Novo Mesto police station. And I know it's everywhere in Slovenia like this. It's not only here. It's controlled by the very same people who controlled Yugoslavia, who enforced not the law and order, but the genocide against the natives here in Slovenia and against natives in Croatia and in other parts of Yugoslavia. The same people, the same shit, the same garbage, the same trash. I am not going to even get myself into I am not going to even get myself into what I think, how it shall be and it shall not be, because it doesn't pertain to me. I am just investigator of this crime, and it really doesn't pertain to me. I have nothing to do with this stuff. I don't give a three fuck about what people do here in Slovenia, for what I care. For what I'm concerned, they can go fucking blow themselves up like Al-Qaeda does. I don't give a three fuck about what they do here. I already told you, I'm from the family, from both sides of the families that participated heavily in a partisan movement, in the resistance movement against neo-Nazi Germany and fascist Italy during occupation, World War II occupation. And both sides of the family, every one of them was involved in a communist party. I already talked about that stuff. Makes no fucking sense to talk about what I think. What I think is basically is a law. And for the rest of it, I'm gonna put it this way, I don't give a three fuck about. And you still will not understand me because you will go and you will continue to write whatever the fuck you write. Therefore, it has nothing to do with the right or wrong. You continue to do this stuff because you have the right to do, because you have your country known as a Slovenia, and that gives you the right to violate international treaties, laws, including domestic laws, etc., etc. So I don't give a three fuck about what I think. I only report the way it was, the way it is. So next time when you see Nika Kovacheva, look at that beautiful deer right there. Look at her. She's about to go through the road right there. Look at her. Go ahead and another one. Look at that. Singer. Like I did this song. I'm not gonna do it here. I'm too close to the village, but thrown even inside of the psychiatric institution. Not only that she was involved in a torture when she was a child, but the one who ended up being thrown into the psychiatric institution was myself after 38 years of torture. I started to resist to Bojan Zalar, by singing a song about Mitska Kovacheva, with changing the name Mitska with Nika. And boy, it fucked her up, and boy, it fucked Ljubljana psychiatric staff. That's all I had to do, to protest, to express the protest on the tapes, on the police tapes. You can hear me singing, Nika Kovacheva. You can hear me singing that stuff on the police tapes. MK Ultra police tapes, everybody knew about this stuff. They were boiling in anger. When you hear me singing about the Nika Kovacheva, I am actually thinking about this fucking shithole here known as Slovenia. I'm thinking about you, fucks, lazy dunk Slovenians. I'm thinking about you, scum. I lost my life because of you, scum, so that you can sleep, watch TV, scratch your ass, welfare yourself at my expense. I didn't thought about her so much. I did because she is truly a monument of lunacy. A German who came to Slovenia told me, he didn't tell me, he told a psychiatrist, cops. They were always looking for the stuff like this. And Kopsch was the one who complained him about my not liking Nika. And this older man that would come, all kinds of older men, they were always looking for anything they could stick dick in it. And she was just a perfect young prospect. Whatever you wanted to do with her, he would be probably fine with her. It might have been a psychiatrist German, or maybe from Switzerland, I don't know. That garbage German stated to the psychiatrist Kopsch in front of me, he stated to him, he said, yeah, he said, that's right. We need people like Nika. There must also be in MK Ultra, and that was Putin. She knows, Nika Kovacheva knows Putin very good. Putin actually thanked this German for it. It was only one German, but it was more. They said, we need this. We have this tool, we need this. And he said in front of me to the psychiatrist cop, she said, we need this because we have because of the mentally ill people like you. So I was a mentally ill person. I was a mentally ill person. Dumped into the psychiatric hospital after 38 years of bestiality performed on me. I was just an ill person, that's all the fuck I was. That's the German way, that's how they... Germans always look chic. Everything next to Germans looks simple and always logical. That's how they rationalize their presence. That's how they play down, basically, the real issues. So they get their way. That's just psychology they're using, always. That's a neighbor right there who knows all about this Hakenkreuz problems. That kind of stuff. He was involved in absolutely every crime. Jerich from the psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje was not. But this guy participated in absolutely every crime. I am going to do a little bit dance here on the computer so that you understand how this stuff went on. Police officers from Novo Mesto police station already heavily have harassed, intimidated with this swastika. This is an individual. If you enter in a Google search engine, you're going to get, he's got his own page. Wow. Boyenzaler, obviously he's a famous, what is this right there, psychologist. Well, this scumbag, this scum, who was involved in Mount Everest of violence against me, was a frequent visitor of Moscow before Milan Sodin was the criminal who met me at the police station on October the 30, 2024, and had me transported to the psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje. Was visiting Putin beginning 1988. In 1988, 1987, Milan Sodin became a frequent visitor of Moscow. That was for Milan Sodin. But this scumbag was involved with the Putin already, with the Moscow, I should say, way earlier. This scumbag started to travel to Moscow in my childhood. This scumbag is a patron of Slovenian Nika Kovac. That would be a Monica Lewinsky that you see right here. In Slovenian Monica Lewinsky. This is the girl I was talking about. This is entrepreneur, a director of what is known in Slovenia as, she established it, March 8th Institute. Like I said, I am absolutely not against women, feminism, anything like this, but I don't like when you affiliate yourself with something that you have nothing to do with it, and you are abusing this kind of issues, feminism issues, basically for ethnic cleansing, genocide agenda. I don't think that feminists, women, would see themselves in you, regardless of how you try to present yourself as. So this will be a famous Nika Kovac, closely affiliated herself with Barack Obama, who somehow also became her mentor. just something little about this stuff. Now, police intimidated enormously in respect to those Neonazi swastikas, and this should be, based on MKUltra, more Neonazi swastikas that should appear. There should be more of these Neonazi swastikas that should appear. I do have an audio recording of every trip I make somewhere, and this was the first trip that I made, and it's where I noticed this Neonazi swastikas over there. For the proof that this was the work of the police, because this is where it gets the most tricky. You know, they intimidated, harassed, threatened, death threatened with a psychiatric hospitalization, etc., etc. The authors of this thing are police officers. Authors of these things are psychiatrists from the psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje, such as Director Zalar, Bojan Zalar, the guy whom I have demonstrated you. Police, psychiatry, united, however, made sure, as I was told they're gonna do, they're gonna make sure, however, that they would provide me with a proof that I was not the one who carved the swastika into the bench. And this is to serve as a proof that it was the police investigators, police, psychiatry, Slovenian psychiatry, behind the Milan Kučan, behind the carving of the neo-Nazi swastika, Robert Golob. Just as I explained, the first time this shit crossed mind of Robert Golob, this was sometimes in 2009, 2007, 2008, when he started to hallucinate about the neo-Nazi swastika carved into the bench, into this, like you have seen right there. I remember the words of the police. They told me, we're going to make sure that you have nothing to worry about, because we're going to plant you somebody that you're definitely going to video record. Is going to confirm the date that you met this guy. On the same day, basically, where you would notice this neo-Nazi swastikas. It was one swastika that I noticed. And that was the guy that I am going to play you his audio recording afterwards in continuation. So this was the work of the police without absolutely any doubt, according to MKUltra scenario. So this, I have a very strong cause, again, against police, psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje, Bojan Zalar, Miran Sodin, Milan Kučan, Robert Golob, and so on. Let me present you with a recording. The stuff that you have watched on the video is actually audio recorded too, in one entire audio recording, just like this.
It's kind of unusual. Let's do that. Bench. And then you have it right there, you have a neo-Nazi swastika right there carved in it. This is the first time I see it. So, alright, so we have something new to report about.
June 25th.
This also is the issue that was involved in MKUltra. This issue is repeated.
You hear the motorcycle?
Another location.
All right.
Whatever they were playing with MKUltra.
So
That's exactly what.
that's how easy it is to prove this was the work of the police. That's just how easy that is, based on police explanations to me. Let's go to the guy that I need to... is the guy who gave me a speech, who was involved in MKUltra also, and gave me a speech about how he is in this world, only waiting to die, to go away from this world, up in the sky, which is such an insane stuff that psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, as well as psychiatrist Tatiana Prokshel, insisted me that I would go into the psychiatric hospital. He insisted that police would go and find this guy who gave this kind of speech to me after I would post the recording about him on the internet. And this is the way they did this stuff. Let's go here. So this is this individual here that you got here, this here. This is what police have planted so that I would have the proof that the neo-Nazi swastika, it actually was there, because this is how much they instigated, this is how much they harassed, intimidated with imprisonment, hospitalization. I had investigators that would come at home, and they would also meet me on a hiking trail behind the village, and also on another location inside of our house, insisting me that I would have to be in prison during MK Ultra because of the neo-Nazi swastika. Shit that Milan, Kučan, Robert Golob commenced in 2006, not even 2009. Okay, so let's go, and we're gonna do this stuff so that you can hear this guy. Okay, sorry, this is some other guys. Sorry, these guys here that you heard, that's Roma guys, Roma community, local Roma community from Otočec, who also was involved in MK Ultra, deputized by the police completely. Completely. Their father was the one who made them work totally with the police. This was a totally police day. This neo-Nazi swastika that you have, this Roma family completely involved with the police. And then you have here, you have this guy, completely from Milan, Kučan, this guy here.
His own society. He was 2235. Tell him that this guy moved to a top.
He was also started to talk to me about the Roma people and stuff like that. It was pretty much identical stuff to what I'm used to. When I go out, I hear tremendously a lot about the Roma. Roma this, Roma that. Roma. Sounds like really desperate. Let's go, and I'm gonna just multiply this stuff more because it's so low. Shit, I didn't know that stuff.
Ste pa prijeli, da delate tale v prostoformu. Svoje sposobnosti, ki sem imel za umetna konta, pa sem dober. Ja, zelo. V Sahadrovu. Mogoče, da bi tudi vaš oče bil tam ni. Se lahko nazaj obrnem, tukaj na predanje, da se nazaj obrnem, pa ne sem tistem elementom.
This stuff we amplify a little bit here, and I think this is. Let me just see this here. This is where was really good stuff that he came up, something that they are persecuting him, and I don't know what that kind of stuff. No, this guy is directly connection from Milan Kučan and knows Milan Kučan personally because he had a really distressful life. And the way Milan Kučan composed his military was out of people that were socially disadvantaged. Some people say ostracized. Ostracized, I don't know what it means because I don't know the history about these people, but there was a lot of alcoholics, drug addicts, all kinds of people that society already sidelined, and would, through the use of the police, provided opportunities for them with preconditions so that they would pledge their alliance to him. Police was teasing me about that by gesturing me how they turned me into the junk, but at the same time rehabilitated people with my assistance because I rejected to have anything to do with the people like this, to recruit them for Milan Kučan. That's what Milan Kučan and Robert Golob, Borut Pahor, etc. were using me for. And that's what they use as their base, as a voting base. Bog je rekel, priprav se, da gremo gor. Da gremo čim prej domov. Up on the sky. He is talking such a crazy stuff. The only thing I do is I stand up and I say to him, I wish you a pleasant evening, have a good evening, bye-bye. He's talking about what he repeated to me during MK Ultra with the psychiatrist Kapsh already, that he is in this world only barely waiting for his father, God, to call him up on the sky, that he already wants to go home, up on the sky and stuff like that. Stupid stuff like this. I did not put that on the internet, but yeah, this is what went on that day, and that's what police gestured me, we're going to use to protect you. In other words, we're going to do some kind of a crazy stuff like this so that you would have the proof that you are not the one who carved the neo-Nazi swastika behind the village on those benches. So yeah, I actually have the proof for the stuff that I stated, like just like this. Nika Kovačeva is Slovenia. That's who Nika Kovačeva is. Indira Gandhi had a way to protest with the hunger to the British during occupation. This guy here, sorry, not Indira Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi protested with the hunger. Mahatma Gandhi. I protested with a song that I reinvented from original song known as Mitska Kovačeva in a protest to the psychiatric violence, in a protest to Slovenia, which went along and was just, this guy was involved in it. He's looking up there. So you can hear exactly what I reinvented in my own way to express the protest against the psychiatric violence. Basically, the way these people sing, this is not the way you sing this song. The way you sing the song, more or less, is the way I sing the song. Because it's a sort of satire. You know, it's a sort of satire. I feel that the song was written for different purposes. Different people see it different way. All right, some people will see it this way. It's nothing wrong with it. I had my way of doing it. I wanted the girl who was a strong candidate to become a psychiatric patient, literally, to protest against murdering normal portion of the population, extremely the best of the population. That's what I was. That's what I always was. I was the best of the Slovenian population. Slovenia never had anything like this. And when you acknowledge stuff like this is mentally ill, sick, that simply needs to be destroyed for the sadistic purposes, then you, God forbid something like this happens to you, then you express the type of protest of your own by calling her name and making verses based on your own logic on how to interpret it. And that was actually not against her, but it was meant against Slovenia. The country who committed this stuff against me was Slovenia. Beginning less than 1 year of my age, in what used to be known in Yugoslavia, hiding behind Serbian and a Russian, I should say Soviet, and Yugoslav mask. And since 1991, behind even stuff like this, you see. This is violence. What they did to me is incredible. It is unprecedented violence. Degree, amount, and degree of violence. And the way to protest is by simply exposing this scum for the world to see the country, the nation for what it is, not on individuals only. They're so smart, they get so incredibly smart, they find so many ways around justice, treaties, laws, constitution, that through international circles empower themselves to see themselves in acts of crime, in acts of genocide as the rightful party in it. And the Neonazi Swastika was a symbol. This literally was a symbol. This literally became a symbol of their brazenness. Just as I place this on the face of on the forehead of the Bojan, this literally became a symbol of their brazenness. Not because he will be a neo-Nazi, not because this guy escaped from Hudayama, his father, his grandfather. This is one of those typical Josip Broz Tito murderers, killers, slaughterers of the people that slaughtered night and day at the end of the World War II and became drunk from slaughtering people. That's what these people are I'm dealing with. That's what this is. This swastika symbol became their excuse for the violence. And it's not a psychiatric violence, it's a lifelong forced unemployment based on which psychiatry also was developed into open psychiatric case. These people are so murderous that there is nothing in this world so murderous, barbaric as this scum. Not because he would be a neo-Nazi or something like that, but simply because this became their symbol of tyranny, behind which they're hiding their intentions, their deeds. That's why. This is why. He understands. He knows. He knows the song Nika Kovacheva. He knows the song Nika Kovacheva. I hope he sounds as retarded as possible, buddy, because soon you're gonna meet me again in person. But this time you're gonna stand in front of the judge. I will be more judge than the judge that's gonna be in front of you, buddy. The most important part I almost missed on. I got so angry when I see that guy is just, it takes me over. Police that did this stuff with the Neonazi Swastika during MK Ultra also presented themselves, including with the guys, investigators from another part of the Slovenia, as those who would be completely solving my case. This is a warning to United Nations. I do not allow any kind of scum, Slovenian scum, to get on the picture when it comes to resolving this case. I resolved this case. You need to authorize stuff I did. Investigation I have completed. You need to authorize. I will never recognize any kind of Slovenian police as a police, or even Slovenian nation as a nation. They did this stuff, this shit, with this guy, with this kind of stuff, with the swastika, with this guys and with this. They did this kind of stuff. They know I record everything. They know that this is the only way. They were doing this stuff during MK Ultra. They were recording literally this stuff when they were doing hiking with me during MK Ultra. They were recording. They were doing everything, absolutely everything I do. Everything is according to MK Ultra scenario. They believe they would be solving this case. You're not going to be solving this case. You are the party that is being accused of crime, of genocide here. You're not going to be solving anything. United Nations needs to move butt. You at the United Nations, you need to move butt, because Slovenian side is not going to be solving this case. It was some doubts about during MK Ultra and how is it going to be and how otherwise we will do. They talked to me like this during MK Ultra. The most often subject during MK Ultra that was mentioned was about how to solve my case, which is unsolvable. And of course, the further the case went, the more crime they added to it. And therefore, there was more and more unsolvable. They discussed these issues with me. It's a really simple thing. Till Slovenia confesses, spits the truth about this genocide at United Nations, I do not recognize Slovenia as a state, as a nation, and even less Slovenian police as a police. Watch. October the 30th, 2024, how it ended when I went to the police station. Whom I met over there and where I ended that day, when I was still trying to do the stuff in respect to MK Ultra complaint, which I submitted through Novo Mesto police station. You understand? Till you get that shit done at United Nations, therefore this is the first part you're going to have to do. That's all there is. There is no such thing as Slovenia. There is no such thing as a Slovenian police. Occupator. You know what the occupier is? Worse than Nazi Germany for me is this stuff here. Worse. Worse even than Soviet Union is this shit, this Slovenia here for me. Till you get the clearance at United Nations for this case. That's how we're going to communicate with the Slovenian state, with the Slovenian police. Nisem jaz tisti, ki nima urejenega statusa. Neurejen status imajo tisti, ki ne vejo. Neurejen status ima tisti, ki tega statusa ne uredi. V tem trenutku Združeni narodi so tisti, ki nimajo urejen status za vami. Ne vi z Združenimi narodi, ampak Združeni narodi z vami. Golazem. This stuff definitely is related to the stuff that you see here. This Janez Janša na domoljubnem ali ustaškem koncertu. This concert, this Thompson, this guy here, Janez Janša, this guy here. And on the other hand, I dedicated them a video. I dedicated this guy a beautiful, beautiful video to Slovenian police in respect to this Ustaša and stuff like this. They were not only involved in it, this stuff was one of the main programs, one of the main brainwash they incited in during MK Ultra. All this shit is related. All this Ustasha, this swastika, all this kind of stuff, this shit is all coming from the police. This is all done. For those that don't know, and they start to take sides in something that you shouldn't be taking sides. You're doing this not because of yourself, not because you're doing yourself a favor or because of yourself. You're either doing because you're part of this stuff here, or simply because something is being done to you. Just as was in my case. All this stuff, watch this video to understand what's happening in Slovenia and Croatia also. All this stuff is coordinated, timing-wise, absolutely everything. Also with the stuff that took place in respect to this Neonazi Swastikas, for which they even dared me. Oh, are you gonna sit next to them? Are you gonna sit here? You're gonna sit on the bench where the Neonazi Swastikas are? This is the way it was on another location, wherever that was, during MK Ultra. They were doing. That's exactly the way it was. They bullied, they harassed. And you already know my precious neighbor here, Metod Yerman, you know him. This is the criminal who was participating in absolutely every MK Ultra session on behalf of Milan Kučan, I should say, Vladimir Putin, Gregor Golobic, Robert Golob. This is our house right there. And this is Yerman number 1. And this is his cousin Yerman number 2. Both of them police officers. This guy knew, Metod Yerman knew absolutely everything about this crime. And he participated in absolutely every crime. He witnessed every crime. Participated and witnessed in every fucking crime. Enforced this stuff. The telephone, this crime took place not too far from where police have stolen my telephone not too long ago. I did report about that stuff. All based on MK Ultra scenario, they got locals to do the job for them. It's quite near actually to Žihovo Selo, except that it's on the other side of the forest. Just as the theft of the telephone was orchestrated, it was also the same thing with this. They would bring the bench here, and they would also bring the bench here. They would bring the benches. They play with this. There was no asphalt before here. There was just a road, like forest road, I should say. Yeah, that would be probably Polidelska Pot, the best description of this. Here is where this bench is located. Yeah, right here. Yeah, this is where the telephone was stolen from me. Actually, right here, like this. So, I don't have anything else I would say to this. Any kind of attempt to undermine, any kind of attempt to what? Did you gonna intimidate me? Is gonna be met from my side with this here. Look. This is the way I do it, look. See this stick? This is me on the horse. Any kind of, we will do this and we will do that. We can help you in this, and you ain't gotta fucking help anybody. You murderous scum. You're not gonna be helping anybody. You're responding to this shit. You gonna do a problem to me? Any kind of scenario that you had to traumatize, like this one with the Neonazi Swastika, then you get the video like this one. The only thing I do is I add charges to original bill. That's all I do. I don't give a three fuck about what you write. I'm going to say to you the same thing like Milan said to me. Milan said to me, yeah, you keep writing, you keep writing. I said, of course I do. Of course I do. Of course I do, and I do a hell of a good job. I'm proud about it. How about you? How are you doing, losers?